And we are live on a Wednesday.
Welcome to the Legends Clubhouse on a Wednesday. I am fashionably on time, Bobby Kaboose. As always, I'm here with the red shirt man himself, Lawson Turner. What's going on, man? You look like the Kool-Aid man right now.
What the fuck was the Kool-Aid Man thing?
Bust
Oh
through that
no.
wall?
Huh?
Did you bust through that wall?
Yeah, I had to patch it
Oh
up real quick.
yeah.
Yo, every time I think of the Kool-Aid Man, outside of thinking of the original Kool-Aid, I remember that episode of Family Guy where they had the evil
Which
Stewie, and he was just standing on the side with a baseball bat, and right when he went, oh no, oh no, oh no, Kool-Aid Man jumps out. Oh yeah, they just beats the shit out of him and just starts licking the Kool-Aid off the floor. I'm like, yo,
That's a great episode.
bro,
That's a great. When he
and
cuts Brian's tail off and feeds it to him.
stuffs batteries in his nose. Bro, and then I remember the one time when Peter was on trial for killing Lois, and they all went with the after they said he was guilty. There was the three oh no's, and then Dr. Hartman, who for whatever reason has like 88 hats because he's a judge, he said, "Can we stop with the oh no's? Because the fucking Kool-Aid Man's gonna jump through another wall again."
Or when the Kool-Aid Man goes to the wrong wall, he goes through and he's like, and he backs out, and then he and falls.
That shit was
Um,
so funny.
but yeah, we were just talking about the baseball All-Star game. MLB All-Star game was last night.
Mm.
Um, the what it was a 95th All-Star game or something, and it ends with the first time ever a swing off. They ended, 6-6 after the ninth. Before we get into the swing off, dude, my Tigers. Um,
Not their
we
best outing.
wait. We still have the best record in baseball, right? This doesn't doesn't affect our record, right?
Right.
Um,
Scooble's ERA is still dope.
okay, because this is a little concerning. And I can't believe this is real, but um, Scooble's ERA was 18. He let and I told you, I actually told my buddy, I would go, I would put a little bit of money, on Shohei getting a home run the first inning, because
Yeah.
Scooble's first inning, man, it's his demise sometimes.
I was gonna say
You correct it, but
his first three batters that literally went single, single, two-run double,
yeah.
and then he
Yeah,
went,
and
and then I think it was strikeout, strikeout, ground out, or something like that.
right. So, his ERA, he ended up with an 18. Obviously, he wasn't in line for anything.
Really quick,
And
before you dive into the rest of your Tigers, did you like how in the first inning, at the first chance they got, they went to the automatic balls and strikes challenge?
yeah,
Dude,
yeah. I'm. See, they want to speed up the game, but I will say those challenges are pretty damn quick. Like they're like,
oh,
yep, bam.
immediately.
So,
The second Scooble pitched it and the umpire went down, I was like, oh, absolutely not. And then, it's awesome because we see these players mic'd up and stuff. So Cal and
yes.
Scooble will be like, no, challenge. And then immediately was like, 0-2, overturned, 0-3, strikeout.
How do you feel about that, like getting implemented into the game permanently? Sounds like you love it.
I think it's a great idea because these umpires fucking blow sometimes. Like, I don't need another Angel Hernandez on my hands, dude, because that dude was terrible. However, I would like to see them, like, how many do you get? What happens if you get one wrong? Stuff like that. Like, example, you can't do it once an inning because they're just going to
Right.
challenge any close call just to be challenged.
Right. Yeah, I would say that it has to be obviously a limited amount.
Would you be cool with
Uh,
3?
yeah, because I was thinking one, but one might not be enough. Um,
They might, they might,
yeah,
they might, could,
three would make sense for baseball.
they
Three
might,
would make sense for baseball.
yeah, for,
Three outs, whatever.
Bingo. Could you see a scenario in which they do? Now, I would be against them just doing one. If they were
Yeah.
to have one, and then it kind of be like the basketball challenge rule, where if you get it right, you get it again. But then after 2, you're done.
Um, on the third one.
Yeah.
on the third one. If there's multiple, like I wouldn't say you know on the first two you know you just use them. You know the third one if it's correct, you know maybe give him that. I don't know because
Mm-hmm.
then at that point like you know you could start if challenging you know how I mean, if it's close, the nice thing about baseball with the umpires is there is the human element about it, and so you do get like you know your bad calls, but it's part of the game. Like it's
Right.
part, you know, and it's been a part of your game since you were a little kid.
For
So
200
like
years.
it's not like the pass interference rule in the NFL where you know you're practicing as a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old kid throwing bombs and throwing them short so receivers come back and get the you know call back interference you know like
Mm-hmm.
it's not something you grow up with like okay like you're a quarterback like try to get that interference call so we can get that you know what I mean like it's
Mm-hmm.
with baseball it's like okay you got two strikes on you you have to protect anything close because of the human element now it kind of takes that away a little bit, you
Right.
know, of just having to protect all the time. But I mean, like, it's instilled in ball players, you know, brains and you know reactions and stuff like that. So I don't know how much big of a deal it will be, but I'm on the fence about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the fence. I really like what they've done with the pitch clock. I like how they have a challenge. I think it's seventh inning or later. Um, you know stuff like that so the game still moves along smoothly and you know the uniqueness about baseball is it's been around for well over 100 years
Yeah.
and the game has really never changed too much
Mm-hmm.
like you know it seems like you know the NFL whether it's the NFL NBA or NHL they manipulate the rules a little bit you know either each year or each CBA
Right.
right? Called contract negotiations or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so
I,
I don't know, man. I'm on the fence.
I think that as previously mentioned, I think it's a great idea. It does 100% needs to be tweaked and stuff like that before it makes a regular season appearance. Due
Hmm.
to the, I think one is too less. I think five is too much or too
Yeah,
many. To where like that three is the kind of sweet spot. To where and like you said, if maybe they give two, and then if you get them, well, no, because then if you get one right, then you're gonna get your third. But
yeah,
obviously there are smart people making millions of dollars in a special room to make those kinds of decisions and stuff like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
People smarter than us making decisions. Because if it was me, I'd be like, huh? Yeah, just unlimited, dude.
Yeah,
Like
dude, fuck it.
let's have a 12-hour game. I would challenge every pitch.
You get one per at bat. You get one
Yeah.
per at bat.
Well, that you know, and I hope that's not the case because you know they as far as like the pickoff rule, I think you know they can throw over twice.
Hmm. And
Um,
then the third one,
now,
I think it's a free base or a free pass.
yeah, and you know, back before that rule, you could throw over there fucking 17 times in a row. I mean, and you would hear fans boo like all the time if they would throw over, you know, multiple times in a row.
Hmm.
Um, you know, but. Yeah, the pickoff rule again, you know, I think it's over excessive when you keep throwing it over there, but with the rule now it's like almost a penalty if you throw it over there because if you throw it over there twice, now you can really time it and you're like, all right, well this motherfucker can't throw it over here again. Let me just I can take the biggest lead that I want
Yeah.
and you know,
And then
you
it's
can't
and
do it.
then and then it's just can you beat the catcher's arm in a second?
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
So, going back to my Tigers, man. Just real quick, dude. And this may be a reason why you don't have fucking six or seven All-Stars or whatever the hell they had. Um, fuck, dude. Tarek Skubal, we already went through it. It led up two in the first. He only pitched one inning, right?
Hmm.
Two Ks, few hits. Didn't look good. Then you got Casey Mize, who also let up some runs. Looks like I don't know what he did. I didn't see the box score on him, but looks like he's got over a 13
I was
ERA.
about to say I think he ended with a 13.5 ERA.
And then we have Torres, Green, Baez, and McKinstry combining for an 0 for 8 with 3 strikeouts. Um yeah, maybe you know
I
I
would
told you I know it's one game and I
It's
know
the
it's
All-Star
for
game.
fun, it's an exhibition, but then I kind of told you I'm a little worried for them going into the playoffs
Hmm. Do
and
you?
being a legit World Series contender. And I mean, big stage here. I know it's not your team, and I know it's different, but not a
I,
good showing.
I
A good showing.
I'd have to go back and double check and see like who the pitchers were.
Yeah,
Because once again, you're not going to be going against Paul Skeens in the playoffs and stuff like that.
right.
And he struck out, the first two batters, which were Torres and Green. So I'd
Yeah,
have to go back and check. I'd have to go back and see, who was in against what. Could you see potential? Oh, like if they were going against let's say like like for example, if they were to have gone against like a Dodgers closer, oh
yeah,
well, not Dodgers, Yankees closer, then it's, this could be like a
oh,
divisional round series, or a third round series, that's like, you're going to be going against someone who you're more likely enough to see in the playoffs.
right. Yeah, I get that point, but at the same time, you are seeing pitchers only for, a lot of times during the playoffs for an inning,
Yeah.
at a time, because they have expanded rosters, they do more matchup based stuff, so a lot of guys will either go shorter, or if you have a starter that's hot, then obviously they're going to be in the game longer. But anyway, it just seems like you see more pitchers more frequently in the playoffs. So
Right.
you can't you're not going to see a guy multiple times. So
Mm.
just not a good sign, man. Like I said, dude, like I'm glad they got the top record in the Major League Baseball. I kind of hope, in a weird way, that the Central kind of narrows the gap on them a little bit, so they're playing some meaningful games at the end of the year.
Hmm.
But this is a little bit of a concern, man. Not one guy could get a hit, 3 strikeouts.
I
And
mean,
Baez wasn't a strikeout. Like, ugh.
it's so funny due to, like, over the past few weeks and shows and stuff, you've expressed a little bit of concern, and then
Hmm.
out of all the teams, all stars, the team that had the most, none of them did like a fuck thing. It's like,
Right.
Scooble has a big argument for best pitcher in baseball, and he was fucking terrible in the first inning. Casey Mize has a strong argument, who's number two between him and Flaherty, and he fucking
Yeah.
was, and he was just blowing it. Riley Green has finally, shown a lot of potentials to, why they draft him where they did so high and stuff like that. And then, he goes fucking 0 for 3. Javi Baez, you throw him in the outfield, he's resurged his career, and he surprised he didn't fucking strike out. Gleyber Torres has been one of the best second baseman all year long. He fucking blew dick. So it's like no one got a hit. The best thing you could.
It's a reality.
It's so funny because like the best thing out of all this is after Scooble gave up, his first inning bugaboos. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't like an 8 pitch strikeout. It was 3 pitch strikeouts back to back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you've brought up many a times, it's like for someone who's the best pitcher in baseball, the first inning has been a problem every
Yeah.
now and again. And then,
Yeah.
because it seems like after the first inning, he's like Popeye. He'll go to the fucking dugout and eat his fucking can of spinach, and then, he's fucking Superman the rest of the way.
Right. Yeah, it's a great analogy, because that's what happens, man. Like it seems like he is trying to get into a rhythm early,
Hmm.
and he usually, just lays one in there, and he, being a power lefty, dude, he's supplying a lot of the power for these hitters. So, if they make good contact, man, that ball is out of here. And
Yeah.
and then yesterday we see what happens when they don't make good contact. Shohei, had a great swing on it, but I mean that ball wasn't hit hard.
No.
I forget who was hitting second.
Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't hit a hard hit ball,
No.
and he was able to leg it out, and then, but yeah, because he hit it in between first and second with like kind of no man's land, and like they're like, okay, well, and then who's batting third that hit the double down the line?
Ketel Marte.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, one, two, three, there, three batters in, you got 2 runs, and you're like, shit, and you mentioned something that's absolutely fucking hilarious. That Paul Skeens, gets a 2-run lead in the first,
That
still not in line for the win. Still gets like I don't think he would. I don't know if he would get the win.
yeah, he
I don't
would
know
have.
if all-star games are different. So because you usually have to go 5 innings or
Yeah.
whatever. So I didn't know if it was going to be the person that was in the fifth. Anyway,
He got more
um,
run support in the first inning than he did his previous 3 starts.
yeah, and they could. You said they couldn't. They couldn't keep on to a 6-run save, which is hilarious to me as well. But they almost pulled off the greatest or the biggest comeback in All-Star game history.
Yeah.
I was gonna Major League, but it's not Major League. Major League All-Star history. But anyway, so I'm watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it back on in the 7th or 8th inning.
Because right after the first inning, you're like, I can cut this shit off now. They're about to take
that's
Scooble out. I don't really need to see much more.
I watched 2 documentaries and then I put it back on.
Right.
I watched the Real Project X and Bubble Boy or whatever the fuck it was called.
Have you ever seen Project X, like the movie based on, like the
Yeah.
actual? That's such a all-time classic, just goofy party movie.
Right. So, have you seen the documentary about?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it after this All-Star game.
Yeah.
Talk. So, I turn it back on and towards the end of the game, and in the 9th inning, they're like, it was just announced that this game's not going to go into extra innings if it's still tied, and I'm like, what the fuck are they going to do? Like, I was like, they can't just end it as a tie. That would be stupid as fuck. And I'm like, okay, thinking in my mind, I'm like, what are they going to do? And I kind of figured they were going to have some kind of home run derby. And I was like, okay, how do I feel about this without seeing it? Like, without knowing kind of the rules when they display the rules on the screen. I'm like, okay, how do I feel about this? At first, I was like, I think this is stupid as fuck. Like, because I get like running out of pitchers and stuff, and you want to get everyone involved in the game. This isn't fucking Little League, right? If you don't get into the game, I'm sure these guys won't be fucking hurt.
You're still an all-star.
Yeah, you're still an all-star. You still got some kind of bonus in your contract. Like fucking Scooble went and fucking changed into fucking street clothes by the time it was done. Like, and you mentioned before when they, kind of fast forwarding and jumping around a little bit, but when they select their guys, they have to be in the lineup. So, you're like, yeah, Shohei and Judge and all that, and they probably just fucking bounced. Like,
Yeah,
it's probably a good fucking point. They probably did. Maybe they stuck around. I don't know, but
I didn't see him out there watching the swing off.
right. So, which I would have never thought about that. It's a really good point. But going back to that, like, this isn't Little League. Like, you don't need a participation trophy.
Right.
Like, put these guys out there for a couple innings, 2-3 innings for the pitchers, then you won't fucking run out, and if they go into extra innings, they go into fucking extra innings. Like, and so I was, thinking that, and I'm like, just, I miss the days of like, okay, we have to kind of strategically do this. And like, I remember one All-Star game, I think went into like the 16th, 17th inning. And, some people don't like that because they're like, oh my God, they're so long, whatever. Exciting. It can be exciting, especially if there's like something that's meaningful on the line.
Like home field advantage in the World Series.
Right. But they ran out of pitchers, and I think they had to like result in just a tie because they didn't have any pitchers left. And I'm like, that's stupid. Like, you have how many pitchers on the roster? Probably, 8 to 10. And
I was about to say probably 18 to 20 combined.
You're right. And you're like, okay, you can't get through a Major League Baseball game? Like, even if it goes into extra innings, you can't get through that without using all your pitchers. Like, Clayton Kershaw pitched to 2 guys.
Dude, I don't know. I love how a lot of these, events are mic'd up. Cause when he was
Hmm.
talking to Schmaltz, he was like, "What do you want, Schmaltz?" He said, "Cutter." And so he said, "What did Clayton say?" He said, "I don't throw a cutter, Schmaltz." And then almost swore on TV, and then threw, he threw like a fucking, I don't know if it was supposed to be like a slider inside or something, but he fucking four square bounced it to fucking home plate, and then he was like, he definitely wants another curveball right here. And then it was so dope because right when the broadcast started, it was like it's so weird talking to you guys. And then before the John Schmaltz and it might have been Ken Rosenthal or whoever else was in the booth was saying was gonna answer and talk to Kershaw. He said, "Hold on one second, I'm about to give him some cheese right here." First pitch, Raleigh smokes it just straight to left field, and I was like, "Oh, Kershaw." I wasn't big into baseball back then when you were a beast, but what happened to you, my king?
Um, but yeah, so I had mixed feelings about it. Then they did it, and I'm like, okay, they picked 3 guys. I was kind of wondering why they picked the guys that they did. I
Yep.
was like, I don't know if they have to be, not in the game yet or whatever, or they're just, they don't really care, and they're just like, we're just gonna
Let's just
give
throw
these
three
guys.
guys out there.
Yeah. Um, but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it because there was some drama, like Kyle Schwarber hitting 3. That was cool.
Dog.
I think if it didn't play out the way it did, I think it would have been a fucking terrible idea. But I think for baseball, I think baseball got lucky.
Schwarber saved the All-Star game.
I think Major League Baseball got lucky on this one because I think people would have hated this idea if the drama wasn't there like that. Like
Dude,
if the AL would have just ran away with it at the or won like 3-1 or whatever,
yeah.
I you know, I think I think they would have been
It's
like, oh shit, we got to change
we
this.
got to do something if it goes to extras cuz
Yeah,
when the American League scored the 2 in the top of the ninth, I'm like, "Oh shit, this could, go into extras." Or we
yeah,
could see I don't know how often you see a walk off anything in an All Star game. So
yeah.
so fucking I was like, okay, maybe they have the ghost runner rule, or maybe we're finna go 20 innings of it just be like playoff style, baseball and stuff like that. And then when they were showing the rules stuff, I was like, okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
I'm open to the idea. Let's see. And then they fucking have both managers walk up and give their 3 guys, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because
yeah,
um, Aaron Boone picks a guy that has 11 home runs on the year, which
right.
cool for you, dude. It just makes me laugh. And I saw a TikTok about it. It said Aaron Boone was like this, and picking the selections, and it was the Max Kellerman clip where he said
Hmm.
aliens have the death beam on Earth. One shot for my life. I want Iguodala. Between Steph and Katie and all them.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that clip. It was like I bet Aaron Boone was thinking about this clip. It was just
Hmm.
so funny because they go up three. They as in the American League go up 3-1 instantly, and then I
Yeah.
see this big fat fuck who swung the heaviest bat since 20. I think he's I think he's third in home runs since 2017, and
Yeah.
he just
I think
walks
he's
up.
second. I think he's second behind Judge.
He might be second, and he just walks up, and with his, it's so funny because he holds the bat so fucking
Yeah.
close, and it's almost like it's not a full swing. It's more of like a cutting swing. Half
It's very
sometimes
compact.
it
Yeah, very compact swing, hitting the right spot.
yeah, and then when I see him smack the first one, I'm like, oh fuck, because I think it might have been last year or 2 years prior he led the league in leadoff home runs. Because once again,
Yeah,
you're not having him in your 3 hole for the Phillies because
right.
that's Bryce's spot, whatnot stuff like that.
It's so
But
weird how lineups are constructed these days. Because like back in the day, you would have your speedster
your speedster
lead off.
contact cleanup,
Yeah,
real cleanup, and XYZ and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but it was just so funny because after he smacked the first one, I was like, oh shit, he's feeling it. Smacked the
hmm
second one, I'm like, I can cut this shit off. He's
Yeah.
about to go 3 for 3. And I brought up the point, and I saw it on Twitter. 100 years from now, they're gonna look back, and because these swing offs don't have stats, and they're gonna
Yeah.
say, "Oh, Kyle Schwarber won MVP of the All Star game at age whatever he is now," because I know he's up there in age. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
what did he do? Oh, he was 0 for 2 with a walk. How the fuck you win MVP if you were 0 for 2 with a walk?" You
Maybe he got
know?
walked with bases loaded and got an RBI.
Nope, no
But it
repeat.
is RBI on there.
Yeah.
But it is funny. But I just thought of something. Would you? Because I think this would be somewhat of a cool idea,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I have to work it out in my. Maybe it sounds better in my head than so I have to say it. Would
Right?
you rather have a format like this where you pick three guys to have three swings to hit home runs, or would you rather pick three guys that go up against the opposing pitcher and defense, and those three guys are the only ones that are able to like have an at bat? You get one at bat per three guys, or so you get three at bats
Okay.
and see if you can score a run.
And then what happens if both teams are tied after that? You get 3 new batters, or just those 3 batters, and you just alternate?
No, that's what I'm trying to work it out. Like, would it be like, okay, you got a guy you got a guy on first. That guy maybe gets the second or third, doesn't score. The other team maybe doesn't get somebody on base, so the guy that got the furthest. I mean, I know that doesn't really make sense,
Right.
but I'm trying to work it out in my head because
Yeah.
I'm trying to implement like still playing the game of baseball
As opposed to maybe in a home run derby.
Yes.
Right. It's an interesting concept, and I think you brought up a good point where baseball kind of got lucky because there was high drama with it,
Yeah.
and Schwarby getting on fire. I'm cool with it. I'm interested as to what they're gonna do because they're obviously gonna talk something about it, because it's like. Because with last night being the first swing off for a tie, All-Star game in history, I think that they kind of threw this together on the fly, low key, because it's never happened before. They're like, "Oh shit, we're kind of running out of pitchers. Intern, what do you got? There's just what kind of ideas can they throw together?"
Right, and because essentially, like you're watching, if that with this scenario, you're watching two home run derbies back to back as far as last night and the night before, right?
Right.
And I'm just trying to think of something different. Like I don't think, like I said, I think the MLB really, really lucked out because if it was one-sided or didn't have the drama of Kyle Schwarber doing that, I think people would probably today be like,
out.
"What the fuck was that?"
I was thinking about this the last night when I was watching the game, and this has no relation to the game at all. Just something cool that they could add to All Star. So how they have the home run derby.
Yes.
In the Korean baseball league, they have a bunt off. So they have like a giant target and you bunt. Kind of like a dartboard, stuff like that. And I'm not saying put that in, but just bear with me. What if they added a pitcher's home run derby? Let's get 3 pitchers and let's see. Let's get some Jake DeGrom when he was with the Mets. Let's get some Bartolo Colons out there, and let's have these throwing fuckers swing the bat.
You know what they could do. I'm not gonna say should do, but they could do.
Yeah.
Is because they used to have this back in I don't know if it was early MLB The Shows or not, but they used to have home run derbies where you could actually pick like a setting and you could like be in a kitchen and you could hit and you would have different stuff you could hit in the kitchen and it would be different points. What if they had something where they had giant targets around the field and you were being pitched to and you had to hit the targets?
That's
and
an
they were
idea because a guy like Luis Arias, from the Padres, he never strikes out. He doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but he's a contact, demon.
Right, you get guys like that, maybe a Bobby Witt Jr.,
someone
stuff
who's
like
crazy contact,
that control the bat and spray the ball everywhere, and you could have you have 10 swings. Let's see how many points you can get.
Kind of how because I know for the Pro Bowl in the in the NFL they have like the quarterback accuracy stuff where they have all the moving targets and stuff. That's a really good idea for because for All Star you're for no contact guy is gonna hit. They're not gonna be invited to the home run derby or whatever. But
Right.
I think it's a really good point to where you invite guys that are. Because getting on base is a skill. Like having a high
Right.
batting average is a skill.
Right. Look at Moneyball, man. That's why they got Hatterberg, because he walked. Remember?
Because he
Hatterberg
walked.
walks.
Hey,
Hatterberg gets on base. Hatterberg.
it's
Played by young Chris Pratt.
yeah, it's such a like I feel like it's a undervalued skill now, just the ability to get on base.
Yeah.
Because you can hit as many solo, home runs as you want, but what really breaks games open and is like a game changer? Oh, let's get a guy on second and third and I need a 2-run 2-out 0-2 count single.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Or you know what you could do? Here. I fixed my 3-batter rule, right?
Yeah.
You have 3 batters, but you start with bases loaded.
Ooh.
So that way there's multiple ways to score.
Sack bunter around.
And then the defense can still get double plays.
And it kind of speeds the game up.
Right, and most likely, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but most likely you won't have a tie at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's multiple ways.
You won't go to an 11th inning.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that would be something that they could do, because then you still have the element of an actual baseball game instead of just a swing off or a home run derby or
and then instead of picking 3 guys, it's those 3 guys in the batting order, and then the 3 guys on base are the 3 above them.
I was gonna say you could pick anyone, or whoever's in the lineup in whatever order, like they did yesterday.
Yeah, I was gonna say because then you could have
go completely in order.
Because then, and I understand, they're not in the same league per se, but you could have guys like, okay, well on second I want Bobby Witt, on first I want Pete Crow Armstrong, because you're not turning double plays on those 2 fast fuckers, just
and then you could put someone like Kyle Schwarber at third.
Yeah,
he doesn't have speed
right.
or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation because it was the first time that this has ever happened. So it's the first time that anyone's ever discussing, something like this. I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty fucking sweet.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like like I said, when before they said like this game's not gonna go past the 9th inning, I'm like, God damn it! Like, what are they like? It's I doubt they do a tie, but what are they gonna do?
Right.
And I'm like. I don't know, man. I just don't know. And like I said, if it wasn't for the drama, dude, like if there was no drama last night, would you feel the same? Like honestly, would you feel the same about it?
If it would have ended 4-1 for the American League and they would have came all the way back, I would have thought interesting concepts. Let's get more drama.
Mm-hmm.
Because in theory, I'm right there with you. It's an interesting concept, and the bases loaded thing is interesting to the point to where there's drama. Any damn near any ball in play could be a out sack fly, double play, triple play, randomness that baseball is, to the point where you get 9 swings. Or do you think and when I was watching it last night, I was like, what an interesting thing that it's specifically swings. What if you get 3 pitches like an at-bat, and if your ball boy fucks it up, oh well.
Right. That's why I was like, okay, like when it was like 3 swings, like when I think 3 swings, like I'm thinking I'm playing the video game and I'm swinging at every fucking pitch. But yeah, you're gonna wait for your perfect pitch, and again, it takes a little bit out of it because like some guys can, some guys can take fucking 10 pitches and just be like, okay, like I'm just gonna, and just it kind of takes everything out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to my bases loaded rule, you literally only have 3 at bats, so it doesn't matter if you get out or not. Like it just matters if you score. Like if you hit like a base clearing double and then get the next 2 guys get out, you get 3 runs. Like and the inning is over. Like you don't need the 3rd out. Like it's just 3 guys that come up to bat and it doesn't matter what they do, like as long as they try to score those runs. And the max runs you would be able to score would be 6 if you hit a like 3 home runs in a
Yeah,
row, or
I,
everyone scores.
I just thought about it. So in your synopsis with the 3 at bats, would double plays take up just base runners?
Yeah,
So they wouldn't be outs. It would be okay. So guys out at first, second, take them out, and you still get your 2 at bats.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just.
Or if you want to go the other way, like if you do get the 3 outs before, I would probably go the other way. If you get a double play and the second guy gets out,
It
then you're
takes away your
done. You
batting.
don't get the second guy. Yeah, but the outs don't. The outs essentially don't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would do that. If you hit a double play, then the next guy, if he gets out, or a triple play, you're done.
Right.
Obviously it's a little more
Rare,
difficult,
but
but if you get a double play and the next guy gets out, you're done.
I was gonna say that's what I was thinking about. So that kind of eliminates, semi eliminates the thing for like a sack bunt, because catcher
Yeah.
could just catch it, take a step back, throw to first. Okay, there are runners on first, you're out, and third, you're out. So you got runners on second and third, and
Yeah.
that's technically 2 of your outs. So instead of the third guy, you only get your second guy.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I can get
Yeah,
behind
and
that.
then I think that works because, like I said, it to me in my mind, and again, there's probably going to be people smarter thinking about this, but like in my mind, it would almost be rare to have a tie after that one scenario,
After
because
that one inning.
yeah, because you would think someone would be able to get a base hit and possibly score 2,
Yeah.
Or walk, or whatever.
That's when you really bring in like your super closers.
Yeah.
That's
You
interesting.
bring in Bobby Kaboose to throw that ephus. No one would expect it.
That ethos. Do you have a baseball like in your area?
Like right now?
Yeah.
I have one. I actually have one when I go to work. I have one at my desk, and I just
I was about to say, can you show us?
found it outside in the parking lot.
Can you show me the ethos pitch grip?
Oh, yeah, I have no idea. I just know it goes like 50 feet in the air and it just drops right into the strike zone, and it's like 50 miles an
I was about to say, can you show me the ethos pitch grip?
My dude, if I'd be on the mound, if I would be on the mound, it'd be like fucking rookie of the year, when he's throwing at his normal speed, and they're like, "Oh my God, he mixed him up with a changeup."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Nah, yeah, that would be me." Like,
I've seen.
I was always really good at defense, but I just never had a strong arm. I did when I was like real little. I had a strong arm, but like it went away. Like even in high school, I played second base, but I could field everything, man. I was like Ozzie Smith out there. You don't know the Wizard.
I know Ozzie Smith.
You didn't know he was named the Wizard.
I didn't. But I know who
And
Ozzie Smith is.
you didn't know he did backflips into the field when he came out in the dugout from the dugout.
I didn't, but that's
You know
pretty. I didn't, but that's pretty cool. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
he would
because
do like a backflip.
I've
It'd be
seen.
awesome.
That sounds pretty cool. I've seen so many TikToks and stuff where like younger baseball pitchers, like they'll be in like the bullpen and stuff, and they'll film a TikTok and they'll just say whatever janky shit they call their grip, and their grip will be like this all over the fucking ball, and it'll be like, "This is my skibbity dibbity," and they'll fucking try and throw a fucking strike with it, and they'll fucking just fling or anywhere else, because once again, who the fuck's holding a baseball like this?
Yeah. There's one of my buddies. He gets invited to a wiffle ball tournament every year,
Oh, I bet
and
that shit's sick.
I'm very fucking jealous, man, because I always want to play. Like, I want to eventually, when I get my own place with a nice yard. I would like to put together a yearly wiffle ball tournament.
That shit would be super sick.
Yeah.
What? I assume co-ed, of course.
No.
No.
I was thinking co-ed, but
They got some pretty funny stories about like co-ed leagues. My dad, huh?
I mean, who knows, man? My girl is Korean, and she could have some fucking sidearm, fucking crazy, fucking delivery. Who knows, man?
She gets some submarine Tyler Rogers shit going on.
Exactly, man.
That's fucking hilarious.
Like with a fucking Hideo Nomo fucking delivery. Hideo Nomo,
Yeah.
whatever
Fucking
pronounces for.
She's up to bat. Live small, bunt the ball. Not though, but so
Hey, dirt in the skirt.
right. Um, baseball was my dad's sport. You know, he played it all through high school, college, stuff like that. And you know, after he graduated and stuff, he still played like a bunch of like smaller like co-ed leagues and just leagues just to play baseball and stuff. Or also softball. And he said there was this one girl pitching, and before she pitched, he said, "I'm just gonna let you know." I need you to be careful because I'm going right up the fucking middle, and he's up to bat, and she pitches, and he hits it, and right when her leg hits the fucking dirt, snaps her fucking ankle.
Jesus.
And I said, how hard you hit that softball? He said, I told that bitch I'm going right up the middle, and she needed to be careful.
Was he in a tournament?
No, it was just like a normal
Like
small,
a league?
kind of like a beer rec league, kind of, yeah.
Oh, that's bush league, man. Like you're not supposed to go up the middle. Like that, like it's like for real. There's like unwritten rules of softball, right? So like tournament, if you're in a tournament, I was gonna say if you're in a tournament, usually they're better players, obviously, and stuff like that. And middle is fair game. People go up all the time because it's there's a lot of room between shortstop and second base.
Yeah.
But dude, non-softball players, dude,
Don't
like
go up the middle.
you don't go up the middle, man. Like if you can control it. Like I know there's people out there that can't help it. And don't get me wrong, I've gone up the middle. And if you go up the middle, you fucking apologize.
Yeah.
But
and he said I felt so bad because he said, dude, they carried that poor girl off, and obviously he said obviously I was safe, at first, and I said I bet you were, and then he said so they fucking take her out, and it's some old dude. my next at bat, he said, hey man, I just want to let you know, be careful, I'm going up the middle. And he said that old dude pitched it. My dad hit it. It went right past the dude's head. And hit for a single. He said the old dude was pitching. He just took his glove off and said, "I'm fucking done." Alan, you fucking got it, dude. You got it.
Oh, dude, I would be fucking pissed at your dad, dude. That would have probably started a fight with my team. I'm not gonna lie.
So funny. And then real quick, last little bit. And then he's always had like not the webbing of his hand fucked up, but he always had like a little scar here. And when I was younger, I was like, hey, I don't know, when I was like 13, 14, when I noticed, I was like, hey, how come you got like the little scar in your webbing? He said, well, I was playing, in another, in a co-ed baseball league, and he was playing something in the infield, might have been shortstop, second base, whatever it was. And someone hit a line drive, and he reached out for his bare hand, and he said, I didn't feel it, but it just whiffed past my hand. And he was like, oh, damn. So, then he hears, someone near him, ah! And he's like, what? And he looks at his hand with no mitt. The ball had went in between his fingers and split his shit. And he said, dude, I just saw all the, and he said, dude, I just saw all like my hand fucking split. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking gnarly. I was like, dude, so did you leave? He was like, fuck yeah, I left this shit hurt after I noticed that it was fucking hurt. He said, all I remember, I reached out with my bare hand to stop the ball, and it was like, damn, it went right past my hand. And then all I heard was a scream, and I looked down, and my fucking shit's bleeding like crazy, and my hand split open. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Good for you, fucker.
Dude, my pinky. Do you see my pinky right there?
I do see your pinky.
It's broken up here. And I just like the doctor literally was like, if you don't, we're gonna have to re-break it if you want it fixed. He's like,
fuck it, dude.
He's like, it's probably in the best place to just keep a broken bone, and I'm like, okay. So
that's funny. One of my other boys.
I was going to say, my dad was he was a pitcher, and he pitched for my team till he got to about age 60.
Damn.
And so we were playing, and the last time he ever pitched, and it might have been the last time he ever played, I'm not sure. It was around the same time because he's like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But line drive comes back at him, dude. Similar to your dad's story, hits my dad in the ankle, right? Ooh. My dad drops like a fucking sack of bricks. The ball kind of squirts away. My dad fucking army crawls to the ball, grabs the ball, fucking grenade launches it over to first. The guy is past the fucking bag in the grass. You know, when you do, turn
Yeah,
around by the. He's in the grass. I'm just like, he's out. Guy looks at him. He goes, dude, did you see all the effort that this guy put in? He's like, I'm calling you out, dude. And the guy was like, yeah, not a problem, man.
fair
Not a
play,
problem.
dog. Fucking fair play,
And
dude.
then, yeah, my day was done.
That's so
His
fucking
ankles swole up, dude. So bad, and dude, he could barely walk for like 3-4 weeks.
so funny. It was just every time my dad tells a story, he say, "Hey, I just want to let you know, be careful. I'm going right up the fucking middle." And he said, "Yeah, the second that girl's leg landed from pitching, snap." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
Speaking of you living with a broken pinky, one of my boys when he was younger, he broke his nose and now he lost his sense of smell. And I'm like, yo, you for real? He's like, yeah. My favorite compliment to tell girls is, oh, you smell nice. I'm like, you fucking dick, cause you can't smell anything. He said, I know.
does that mean he can't taste anything? Because isn't that like related?
No, he can still taste fine. He just can't smell shit.
But
And
isn't that related? Isn't your smell and taste related? Like,
I think
I thought if you couldn't smell, you couldn't taste.
I think they're related, but I don't think like his. To my fucking knowledge, his tasting is fine, and it's so. The thing that makes me laugh the most about him not being able to smell is one of his favorite things that he has all in his room is fucking candles. And I'm like, dude, you can't fucking smell. He said, I know, but candles are nice. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking
Look,
dick.
I got a candle right here.
I don't know where my fucking candle went.
Oh, nice Reese.
Reese's? Does it
Yes,
smell like Reese's?
absolutely. It smells delicious, dude.
That's funny as hell. Now tell me about this Project X documentary.
Okay, so you've seen the movie, obviously. Apparently, so I have to fact check this, but I believe that the movie is actually based on a true story.
Hmm.
Um, that I thought it happened in Australia, but I could be, wrong. But this documentary is actually happened after the movie. So
Hmm.
this documentary, they had this girl's 16th birthday in the Netherlands, and I know 16 is a milestone here, but it's really a milestone over there because at the time 16 was the legal age of drinking.
Right.
And so it was a big deal over there, and this happened in like 2012. So she put out a birthday event for herself, and invited about 70 some people, and she left the event. She left it as a public event, and so one dude got a whiff of it at her school, and she's like, "Oh, this is public." And he's like, they're interviewing him, and he's like, "I was kind of a nuisance, and I like to just, make, have fun and cause a little bit of
A ruckus.
ruckus."
Right.
So his ruckus was inviting 500 people. And he basically told all the people to invite whoever they want. So, at first she was like, getting like notifications about like, and she's like, oh, well, it's not a big deal. Like people are just responding. Well, then by the end of school, there was like 15,000 people invited to this shit. And she's like, this can't be real, blah, blah, blah. And she's like showing her dad, and her dad's like he doesn't understand Facebook. And he's like, basically like, if you were like tagged him on Facebook, he's like, oh, did you send me an email? Like type thing, like
Yeah.
type of where he's, his computer knowledge, tech savviness, it comes into play.
Hmm.
But so the party gets to like 15,000, so she deletes the event. She's like, I'm just gonna cancel it, and people are messaging in there like, project, this is gonna be like Project X and all this stuff, and memes start getting dropped in it. Well, the page gets shut down. Well, some other dude is like, he goes on there to refresh it, and he's like, "The fuck, dude, the event's down." And he's like, everyone was having a good time in the message board and shit. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna recreate the event. So he recreates it, puts her address on it, and oh, they're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, and this is like, a week in advance of the party, and like, so the girl sees it, and she's like, what the fuck? Who put this event? So, um, people started showing up at the house and like taking pictures of them like while they were inside and stuff and just taking pictures of the house and shit. It was kind of getting out of control, and they were like, we were kind of fearing for our safety at this point.
Right.
So she reaches out to the admin in the group, and she's like, hey, like this is really happening, blah 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 blah. So this guy is like, okay, I kind of feel bad now, like I kind of did it as a joke, but I'll cancel my event. So he takes on the event. Well, someone else puts it back up. And like he's like, what the fuck? And so she sees this again. This time, like it's going like above like 20, 30,000 people are invited. Oh shit. And she's like, what the fuck is this? Like what? So she reaches out to the admin of this group. The admin responds. She's like, the admin responded with 2 words. Me, I was thinking, what 2 words do you think?
Fuck off. Like,
So I would have thought like fuck you.
Yeah.
She said it said eat shit. so she's like, oh shit, like this might actually
there's gonna be
happen.
30,000 people out front.
It gets worse.
Oh,
So
God.
by the end, by the time the party is about, the day of the party, there's over 300,000 invites. They're talking about it on the news. The neighbors talking about the police force, the mayor, like everyone's like, and it's like this small little town in the Netherlands, and like
That's so
it's like
funny.
it's like a rich people area. Like
Yeah,
you gotta have some kind of money to live in this town.
that's awesome.
So, they have the police force out there, and people start like kind of slowly showing up, and like there's like reporters and stuff, and they were like, dude, like every time the fucking train stopped, there would be more people from out of town like just fucking walking to this town, and like, dude, they fucking like just fucking barricaded the streets, and like the police kind of realized that they were outnumbered, and the police were trying to make examples of people, so like
Right.
now they didn't handle it well. So like when someone like would jump the barricade, they would try to beat the shit out of them, and then when the other people saw this, they're like, oh, that's what you're gonna do? Okay, we'll start rioting. And so they just start rioting, and they end up fucking busting into like fucking stores and shit, and just destroying the fucking town, and setting car on fire and shit.
Stupid
And
shit.
but the I don't know if it
So
was the
funny.
next day or the day after, but the town actually cleaned up the party pretty well. Like one lady was like, yeah, I went for a walk with my husband with the dog like a day or two later, and she's like, there was people out there fucking cleaning up our city, and she's like, I was really proud and all this stuff. And like, so had to clean up well. But
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't as intense as Project X. They never got into like a house, or like, I was hoping that there was like, a DJ that showed up,
An
and like,
actual party.
yeah, it was just a bunch of people rioting in the streets.
Dude, I remember in the movie Project X that came out in like 2000, like what, 12, 11, somewhere around there.
Like that. It was around the same time as this party.
One of the only like scenes that I vividly remember is when he's talking to the dad afterwards, and they're sitting in front of the pool, and the dad's like, was it a pretty sick party? He was like, yeah, Dad, it was awesome. And the crane is lifting the car out of the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny when you made the reference that police are trying to make examples like, hey, don't jump the barricade, we'll beat the shit out of you. I was in the I went to England in 2022 for like the World Cup and like the end of the World Cup and stuff like that. And England sadly lost before I went to go over there, and my boys were telling me, they're like, Lawson, when we made the Euro finals in it might have been, I don't remember if it was 2018 or whatever year England made like the semifinals of the uh, Euros tournament, right? He said, "Bro, we shut the fucking country down." He's like,
Yeah.
"Dude, we're fucking bar hopping. There's fucking cops and riot shields. We're fucking drinking booze and just throwing the bottles at the police." And I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck do you mean you're just throwing them at the police?" He's like, "There's 100,000 of us. The fuck are they gonna do?" I said, "Yeah, there's no gun. There's once again, there's no guns over there." And I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, you got a good point, because if the police put the shit out of one dude, there's a fucking 100,000 of them just fucking. He said, "Dude, we shut down like every major highway. We're all just fucking parading over the fucking streets." And I'm like, dude, that shit sounded fucking awesome. I
Yeah.
love when like the passion of fans and stuff really takes over like a city or a country. Like
Mhm.
when smaller countries do extremely well in like in international tournaments. Like for small countries like that, that's damn near all they have. That's what they can hang their
Right.
hat on. So I love that fan is short for fanatic, and that's one of the things one of the reasons why sports are awesome. Like example, how the Lions, your Lions have they've sucked dick for 40 years, but
Dude,
huh?
it's been longer than that. They've sucked dick since like 70 years. 70.
Anyways, but you see the sports town and stuff for the 3 years that they're building
Mhm.
stuff, and then they turn I don't remember the name of your guys' stadium, but it
Field.
huh.
Ford Field.
For I thought it was Ford something, but I didn't know if it was like Ford blank field or something like that.
Nah,
But they turned that into one of the the best atmospheres in the NFL. And for my
yeah.
entire lifetime, it's you go to Detroit, shit's not loud,
Right.
to where you have a genuine home field advantage, and I just love stuff like that. Now
Yeah.
I'm not saying drink beers and throw them at the police. But like just the shithousery that goes on, whenever big stuff
So,
happens.
did you actually go to a World Cup game?
The World Cup wasn't there. It was in, I think it was in France, but I was there when like the semifinals and the finals were going on. So it was still just pretty cool to be over there with
Yeah.
in the country that they take soccer crazy, and where soccer means the most.
Yeah, 'cause I always like that's a bucket list thing to go to a World Cup game, and I don't care who's playing. I
Dude,
just
for
want to be
real.
there. Um, but the same year that you went,
Mm,
that England was doing that, or the year that England was in the finals or whatever your buddy said.
yeah, in the Euros,
Um,
yeah.
it
I
was
think it might have been 2018. Let me double
I
check.
think it
But
was
continue.
2018 because I was working at a local watering hole. And this particular one, it was so I had left the IT world, and I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. So I had three part-time jobs, so I could pay my rent and all
Sorry to
that.
cut you off, but it
So
was in 2020.
okay, yeah, 2020.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that makes a little bit more sense. So I don't know. It was during one of the World Cups, but I was working at a watering hole, and we happen to have like it's weird because soccer's not huge over here,
Hmm.
but in this particular area, in this particular bar had a very big um England, like there was a England English community
Hmm.
from people actually from England that loved soccer, and so they would come to this particular bar where I was working at, and so we were watching England, like, because we would be fucking packed when they played,
Dude,
and
that shit's something
fucking
else.
it was awesome to even just work and like just be like
Hmm.
fuck yeah, except if you're playing USA, then go fuck you,
Right.
you fuck you redcoats, or or whatever. The British, the British are coming, the British are coming. um
All right,
you
Paul
know
Revere.
you- but yeah, if it's not versus USA, then
Yeah.
so. But it was a pretty cool atmosphere. And I would love to go to a fucking World Cup game. Like I said, regardless on who the fuck is playing, I don't, I wouldn't
I mean, the World.
give two.
I was gonna say the World Cup's next year, and I think they've already announced like not obviously not who's playing yet, but where the games are gonna be played and stuff like that. So you never know, man.
So, but anyway, I think that kind of wraps us up for this Wild Wednesday. Check us out over at, first of all, first of all, we are live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays here at the Legends Clubhouse, 7:30 Eastern Time, AM. So join us for breakfast. Get your cereal ready. Get your flimsy bacon, your OJ. If you need some caffeine, I'm not a coffee drinker. Crack yourself open a pop. I know it's not the healthiest thing, but it's got a little bit of caffeine in there. Um, we're if you can't check us out live, we're always on YouTube after the fact. So check us out at New Leaf News on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment. If you want us to cover something, if you are completely entertained from myself and Lawson, feel free to shoot us a message and be like, hey, I want you guys to talk about polar bears next week. All right, man, I'll do some research and we can make some jokes about some polar bears. But if you're not joining us, go over to newleafnews.network or .com. Both of them take you to the same great site. We have daily content. We are on fire lately. We've been hitting over 1,000 views a day. We have big things in the works. Daily content, whether it's sports, horoscopes, entertainment, gaming, creative shit. We have creative stories, poetry on there, man. I've been flying things out. We also have a thing under Pods and More. You like podcasts? So do we. We put them under Pods and More. You can check out my other show, 64-Bit Legends. That's on Instagram and on X. New Leaf News is on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously, Facebook. Go follow us on all those platforms if you have one. I am Bobby Kaboose under the same two platforms as the 64-Bit Legends, the Gram and the X. Lawson is Lawson_1226, both platforms. That number has some meaning, fellas and ladies. Get him some birthday gifts. Steal his identity. Just ruin his life. It's cool. He's cool with it.
Just
He's just laughing